So welcome to this easy Windows box. It's supposed to be easy, but I actually had some trouble with this one because most of the time what I do with Linux machines is I just use an exploit I find or some misconfiguration on the website. But this one you had to use Metasploit, which I haven't really, I don't really use it, like MSF console and MSF Venom and stuff. And it's supposed to be a great tool, but I think it's more like Windows sort of centered because it just feels like you only can use this on old machines and not patch machines. And I guess you can do exploits for Linux as well, but I just don't like to use it, and maybe I just need to sort of get used to it. But let's just get started right away. So what we see is we have some FTP, and we can actually use Anonymous here to sort of see our rights. And you can always use help to see what you can do. And we can see put. And you can actually try to upload something with put. So what we can do is if we just create some files, so echo 1 into test.txt, we can actually do maybe h1 test h1 into test.txt. We can try to upload this. Yeah, let's just go here. So put test.txt. And now when we go to the website, it should be under test.txt, which is pretty cool. Oh, okay, it doesn't load tags, but we can see it. We can definitely interact with this, which is not supposed to happen, right? So what we can do is we can upload files to here and make them execute. But what kind of file can we upload? Well, if we look into what kind of version it's running Microsoft IIS HTTPS. So let's just see what we get here. So we have some Microsoft Learn. I don't really like the Microsoft documentation, but in this case, it's pretty clear. So we can see our 7.5 for Windows 7 is 2009 or 2008. Either way, it's going to be pretty similar. So we can just use this either way. Sorry. Most of the time, I think after 2005, when was .NET introduced? 2002 already. Whoa, okay. So it's gonna be .NET. Before that, you had. What did you have? What was before .NET? What did I use? ASP, yeah. So active server page. But we can still use it. Okay. Anyway, what we're gonna use is ASPX. Is that a new version of ASP? ASPX, ASP difference. I don't know. Are both web development framework newer and more advanced superior to ASP? Okay, so I think it's the newer version. Probably. Anyway, that's fine. Let's just go back here and just make this sort of payload. So what we're gonna do is if here we can use MSF Venom and we can say list payloads, and with this you list every single payload. We want to look for Windows stuff because we don't care about Linux right now because we pretty sure know it's a Windows machine, so let's just filter that out of the way. And we can use one of these, and then I think PowerShell reverse TCP is going to be the better one, and maybe even an interpreter like this one. Sorry, interpreter. But it's going to be an old machine, and 32-bit works most of the time also on 64-bit machines, as it's how do you say it, backwards compatible probably. So we want to use a normal interpreter. So let's just go over here and we will use this one, reverse TCP. And we can do MSF Venom, and we're going to create this payload. And if you want to help, how do we set this up? We can say MSF Venom with a payload of this one. And then we're going to do our options, and already says it here, like lhost, fexe and stuff. So we can set those things. It's going to be, and then it's going to be our IP address, so 14.53. It needs to be our IP address because we will make it connect back to us. So we have to sort of put this in and just make sure it connects back to us. Oh, and we also need to set the port. So L port is going to be, let's just do 1010. It doesn't really matter what we use here, as long as it's not already in use by the machine. And ports above 1000 don't require elevated privileges. So if you just want to foothold, use anything above 1000 because that's just you can escalate privileges later on We just need to get a Foothold onto the machine. So now we're going to put us.aspx. Oh, it closes the connection after a certain time. So anonymous a, and let's just put us.aspx, and this is done now. So what we can do is we need to start MSF console, and we need to select the same payload. So there's something like set payload, Windows interpreter reverse TCP. We can use tab, but we still copied it, I believe, so we can just use that. So set payload, this one, and then we can see our options. And we need to, we need to use multi/handler. I believe this is a general sort of thing we can use to specify options, I guess. Like, I'm not really sure how Metasploit works yet. It works. So let's continue with that one. So we need to set the L host. So L host is going to be 10.0, which is our one. And then the L port, which we changed to 10.10, which of course we also need to set. And I believe if we just run this, it should listen for any incoming connections. So we see it's listening our IP address and that port. So if we now go through us.aspx, it hangs, which is a good thing. Oh, it dies. Oh, okay, we still have a shell, which is good. And you can do get UID to see who you are. We are Apple Web. So this means if we use probably a port below 1000, it wouldn't have worked because I don't think this sort of user has escalator privileges. But we can also use sysinfo, and I think there's also system info. Like, it's going to be one of those commands, right? So get system. Well, it's going to be Windows. Yes, of course it's going to be Windows. Oh, wait, it doesn't even do that. Attempts to elevate your privileges. Okay, this might work. I don't know. I thought this would just return, yeah, so Windows 7 system with this and that server. Okay, I can't Control-C this, I think, because I think it then dies. Maybe. I want to Control-C it, because it's not going to work. Okay, let's Control-C. Okay, we're still here, right? We're still here. Okay, good. So what we can do now is background it, and you can do it with background, but you can also do a BG, or you can do Control-C to also background it. Don't worry, the session is still there. We can see the sessions. What we want to use is we can use a tool which is a exploit finder, I believe it was. And we can find it using search finder or something like that. No, it was a different name. Suggester, I think it was suggester. Oh yeah, cool. So it highlights what we can use, and we want to use 5. So now it's saying, all right, we're having a local exploit suggester. So if we show the options here, we only need to set a session, and perfect, because we just have the session and we created it, so we can reuse run. And it's going to collect a lot of exploits, and it's going to run about 42 of them against the PC. And it's just going to say, well, you can try to use this exploit, or we can try to use that exploit. And it's going to return this to you, and it's just going to try it. And I believe like this is the part I don't necessarily like, because this is going to create a lot of traffic, for example, on this machine. So if they're running something like Elastic Defend or even Defender, I'm pretty sure this would get recognized, but I'm not sure. Right. We can see a lot of stuff. So I believe this is from 2010, and then we have all the way up to 2016. I'm just going to use the first one. I'm not sure if I can use 4 now. No, that's definitely not the one. Use this. There we go. We can show our options, and it just needs a session. So we can set that session 1, and then we can set the L host of 10.0 and set L port of 10.10, and we can run this, and I think it just escalates it for you. I guess it's a pretty cool tool that we now just get system. Like, I think it's pretty cool because basically I feel like a script kiddie when doing this, because I didn't do much. I just instructed the tool to, well, do this, right? And still it worked, which is pretty cool. So we just got a root flag. Like, I think it's still pretty cool, but I have to get used to Metasploit, which I'm gonna, have to work on. But yeah, this was the machine.